Assalamualaikum and hi to our my panel. My name is bin Anuar and my matric number is 2019335913 and my code number is M18. So my research title is the difference between genders on participation motive in outdoor recreation activity among Batu Pahat Municipal Council. So let's start my presentation. What are the guidelines that include in this presentation? For chapter 1, they have a background of the study, problem statement and research objective. For chapter 2, they have a theory or model and also conceptual framework. For chapter 3 is a methodology. They have a research design, sampling, instrumentation, data collection procedure, and data analysis. Next is the chapter 4, which is a result. We will discuss about descriptive statistic of motivation, frequency participation in outdoor recreation, and the last is the different participation on motive in outdoor recreation activity among genders. For chapter 5 is about discussion of results, and lastly the reference. Alright, the next slide is the background of the study. Motivation is described as the dynamic internal physiological element that creates a state of tension or disequilibrium inside human, according to Abdul Wafi, Lim and Kayak 2018. That is, a motivation is what motivates a person to perform a specific action or behavior. Motivation is a priority for the planning of leisure and recreational activity, since it represents that the realized reason for action targeted at attaining this objective, according to Measure 2017. Motivation is not continuous, it fluctuates according to the circumstance. Creating pleasant environment boosts motivation and creates challenge for health-related activities. Outdoor recreation, according to GAFA 2019, is an activity that includes contact with resources and the natural environment and require voluntary involvement in leisure time. Use the term outdoor recreation to refer to any form of time structure outdoor activity that depend on the activity undertaken to do it and where there is the sense of accomplishment from the participant engagement with natural components. The study of this proposal will look at the motive for participating in this recreational activity. The next slide is a problem statement. According to Marpua 2021, the development of advanced modern technology that has taken place in the last few years has resulted in the widespread use of various electronic gadgets and devices by every generation, especially among the younger generation. The development of high and sophisticated information and communication technology has a negative impact on adolescents due to the availability of smartphones and many other gadgets. This sophistication makes today quality teenagers less active by participating in sports and recreation and at the same time spoil their healthy lifestyle. Recreational programs that include trips to wild or natural area can support one goal of focusing on the environment. Andre Williams 2017. Doing recreational activity can have a positive impact on each individual. Seeing the environment can release tension when tired of working. A large number of people prefer to play online games rather than do the recreational activity. Lack of outdoor activity increases the number of obese, stressed and unhealthy individuals, increasing the incidence of health-related disorders. This suggests that the population physical level decline from childhood to adulthood, and the trending is usually insufficient to enhance health and fitness. Thus, it can be defined as the activity and experience typically performed in a natural or external environment that involves element of real or perceived challenge and risk where the outcome is uncertain but is influenced by the skill and abilities of the participant. Awards, Seward and Davidson 2020. There are three research objectives. For the first is to identify the participation motive for outdoor recreational activity for the employees in Batu Pahat Municipal Council. And the second objective is to identify frequencies the participation motive for outdoor recreational activity for the employees in Batu Pahat Municipal Council. And the last objective is to identify the different participation motive in outdoor recreation activity among genders of the employees in Batu Pahat Municipal Council. Alright, this slide is about literature review. I use Maslow hierarchy need to my theory. They have a 5 Alright, the first is a physiological. Physiological is a food, water, clothing, sleep, and shelter are the bare necessity for anyone's survival. For many people, this basic need cannot be met without the aids of charitable organization. A reliable place to receive a meal can be what's needed for a person to focus on obtaining higher needs. The second is about safety. Once a person must have a basic needs are to specify. The one for other and predictability sets in. And the third is about love or belonging. Everyone yearns for family and connection. For people living on the street, it can be especially hard to find a welcoming community. So if they do the outdoor recreational, they can find many friends and also can communicate with community. And the third is a esteem. Gaining confidence and the respect of others is an important step for people working to maintain employment and recovery from addiction. Only after finding love and belonging can people then work and building healthy relationship with themselves and others. And the last theory is about self-actualization. According to Maslow, we all crave a purposeful life. There's nothing more rewarding than feeling like you reach your highest potential. However, this final step look and feel different for everyone. Alright, the next is a conceptual framework. 4IB is about motivation and the DV is about participation in outdoor recreation. Alright, for motivation, they have a 5 domain which was enjoy the nature, looking for a new experience, to take the challenge as a social need, and the last is accessibility to the recreation area. Alright, this slide is about methodology. On my study, the research design that I used were quantitative research, which is to distribute the questionnaire. Next, I use descriptive design, which is a non-experimental research. Lastly, for my third objective, I use the inferential statistic. Alright, for sampling my respondent, I choose employees in MPBP. Why I choose them? That is because MPBP have many employees are active in sport and outdoor recreation. For inclusion, I focus on the staff in working at MPBP only. For inclusion is a student practical. For my total amount of statistic number of my respondent are 360 employees. By use Creasy and Morgan 1970, my amount of a sample size are 186. So the respondent that I need to find are 223 respondents. For sampling technique, I use the probability, which is a simple random. Alright, for the instrument, they have 3 types. The first is the demographic profile, which are 5 items, and the second is a motivation. The questionnaire was adapted from Mr. Adil Muhammad CD 2017. They have 22 items and focus on 5 dimensions, and the Crowbar Alpha is a 0.86. For the last is the participation in outdoor recreation. The questionnaire was adapted from Outdoor Recreation Survey 2015. They have 22 items and the Crowbar Alpha is 0.85. Alright, the data collection procedure, they have 5. First is getting approval by ethics committee. Second is a seek approval from head of organization. The third is a brief the respondent about the purpose of the study. And next is distribute the questionnaire to all respondents. And the last is collect the questionnaire after they have finished answering it. Alright, for the data analysis, they have 3 objectives. For RO1, I use a descriptive statistic, which is the mean. For RO2, I also use a descriptive statistic by using the frequency. And the last is for RO3, I use a Fraser statistic, which is an independent t-test. The next slide is about result. For the first is the descriptive statistic of motivation. Total mean score for the first table is the first domain. It's the enjoy the nature where means 5.92 and the standard deviation is 0.90. And the based on researcher analysis according to table 4.3.2, the table below show the total mean for looking for new experience where means 4.81 and standard deviation is 0.36. Next, total mean score for to take the challenge were means 4.50 and standard deviation is 0.28. The highest score for this domain is was means 4.86 and then standard deviation is 0.35 for looking for self-confidence, for height and as physical training. The lowest mean score was means 3.37 and standard deviation is 0.57 for upward from responsibility. Alright, according to table 4.3.4, total score mean for domain for as a social need is a means of 4.42. The standard deviation is 0.33. The highest score mean on this domain was mean 4.81 and standard deviation is 0.39 for experience achievement. The lowest score means 3.96 and the standard deviation is 0.82. Based on the table 4.35, total mean score for domain accessibility to the regression area means 4.22 and standard deviation is 0.66. Next is the result of a frequency participant in outdoor regression. Based on the table 4.5.1 show that employees in MPPP were more frequent join the camping as their outdoor recreation activity, which was 23.3% with 52 respondents. Next table is a 4.5.2. MPPP employees were frequently went to the outdoor beach their extended family, which is parents, brothers, sisters, and cousins, with 45.7% and 102 respondents. In the table 4.5.3 show that MPP employees often went to the park or other area outside their neighborhood but within their town or city, with 49.8% and 111 respondents. Next is the highest percentage of frequently employees went to this any activity based on the table 4.5.4. For this activity, the employees were going working for pleasure every day got the highest frequent score 49.3% and frequent is 110. Then frequency score for more than 2 times a week 10.8% and frequent is 70 for once a week for 14.3% and the frequent is 32. The lowest frequency score is 4.9% and the frequency is 4.9 for respondent activity 2 times a week. For the second highest is based on the table 4.5. For this activity, the employees were going to jogging or running for exercise. It's 2 times a week got the highest frequent score. It's 82.1% and the frequent is 183. Then frequency score for once a week is 94% and frequent is 21. The lowest frequency score is 85%. The frequent is 19 for respondent did the activity more than 2 times a week. And the lastly is the lowest percentage of frequently employees went to the activity based on the table 4.5.7. For this activity, the respondents were panicking and family gathering just for once a week got the highest frequency scores 91.5% and the frequency is 104 respondents. Then frequency score for more than 2 times a week is 4.9% and the frequent is 11. The lowest frequency score is 3.6% and the frequency is for respondent did activity 2 times a week. Alright, the last result is about the different participation motive in outdoor recreation activity among genders. Based on the table 4.61, it shows that there was more comparison of motivation between males and female participation in outdoor recreation. Males the mean is 4.60 and the standard deviation is 0.32. Reported had a significantly higher motivation than female. For the mean is 4.54 and the standard deviation is 0.26 and the T is 231 equals 1.28 and it's not significantly the P equals 0.05. Based on the table 4.6.2, it shows that there was comparison of participation in outdoor recreation between male and female. The mean is 1.73 and standard deviation is 0.40 and the report had significantly higher participation in outdoor recreation than the female. And for the female, it's a mean of 1.48 and the standard deviation is 0.53 and the T is 119 equal 3.95 is not significant. P equals 0.05. The last slide is about discussion. The researcher has selected employees in MPPP. There were 223 respondents involved in the study. The study was to find out the difference between genders on the motivation of participation in outdoor recreational activity among MPPP's employees. Therefore, it was found that males are more motivated to participate in recreational activity, which are 58.7%, which is 142 respondents compared to female, which is 41.3% and 81 respondents. The results show that PPP employees are more motivated to enjoy nature, which an overall mean of 5.92 for standard deviation is 0.90. The second most important was that PPP employees are motivated to participate in outdoor recreation because they are looking for new experience, which a total mean of 4.81 and standard deviation is 0.31. They show that most MPPP employees were more interested in doing outdoor recreational activity because to see the beauty of nature. As for the frequency of outdoor recreation, MPPP employees are more interested in camping as an outdoor recreational activity, which a frequency score of 23.3% and the frequency is a 52. Support by camping tourism was fundamental development by the flexible, temporary, and mobile nature of its accommodation facility and by its inseparable relationship with the natural environment by my colleague Perfect Sri and Chrissy 2017. In recent years, camping tourism was recognized as a growing segment of the broader tourism industry, evolving from an expensive stay in a rural environment into a highly fragmented niche tourism sector by Brocado and Pereira 2017. Based on the result, it showed that most MPPP employees do walking activity for pleasure, which are on street, sidewalk, paths or trail in their community. In my opinion, most of them do it every day because as employees they need to be active and always on duty. When they do it regularly, their health is always maintained and the body is always fit. Supported by Kelly et al. 2018, regular walking is known to provide many physical health benefits, including better physical fitness, reduced risk of disease and reduced risk of disease, specific death, and all causes. As for the official statistic result, the study showed that motivation and involvement in outdoor recreation were accepted better by male than female. Both show significantly higher reported limits, but male participation was higher and more motivated in outdoor recreational activity than female. Supported by Roslizawati Chazis 2020, the higher the interaction factor, the higher the involvement in outdoor recreational activity, the higher the driving factor causes the involvement in outdoor recreational activity is higher.